The WNBA just got caught in the biggest ratings scandal in sports history. And this time, there's no spinning their way out of it. What started as a celebration of record-breaking finals viewership has quickly turned into a PR disaster that's exposing everything wrong with how the league and its media partners operate. ESPN proudly declared that the 2025 finals opener had drawn the largest audience in nearly 3 decades, a supposed triumph that was meant to crown women's basketball as a mainstream powerhouse. But what fans uncovered after digging deeper into those numbers has now set the sports world on fire. The very league that's been desperate to prove its relevance may have just obliterated its credibility for good. When ESPN boasted that Game 1 of the Liberty vs. Lynx finals averaged 1.9 million viewers, peaking at 2.5 million, the network painted it as a watershed moment. The most watched finals since 1997, they said, suggesting women's basketball had finally arrived. But within hours, the celebration crumbled like a sandcastle against the tide. Sports analysts and fans alike noticed something off, almost eerily off. If this game really broke records, where was the buzz? No trending hashtags, no viral highlights, no chatter on sports talk radio, no presence on YouTube or TikTok. It was as if the most watched game in decades never happened. That silence was deafening and damning. When fans and journalists tried verifying ESPN's claims through Nielsen, the recognized authority on TV ratings, they ran into a wall. The official data wasn't available publicly. Instead, ESPN cited Nielsen estimates, keeping the actual data hidden from view like state secrets. That's the equivalent of grading your own exam and telling everyone you got an A+. The red flags were glaring, but the deeper researchers dug, the worse it got. Buried in the fine print was a revelation that changed everything. Nielsen had recently launched a new system called Big Data Plus Panel. Unlike the traditional methods that measured engaged viewership, this one counted anyone who happened to be near a television showing the game, even if they weren't watching. A gym goer running on a treadmill while muted screens flashed highlights? Counted. A traveler walking past an airport bar? Counted. Someone glancing at a TV for 10 seconds while ordering a burger? Counted. Suddenly, the WNBA's historic audience wasn't an army of dedicated fans. It was a tally of warm bodies in proximity to screens. Critics quickly connected the dots. These inflated numbers were nothing like the legitimate ones drawn by Caitlin Clark during her electrifying playoff run earlier in 2025. When Clark was playing for the Indiana Fever before her injury, those were genuine, verified viewers. Fans who tuned in intentionally, breaking attendance and viewership records organically. The difference was staggering. Without Clark's star power, the WNBA had resorted to smoke and mirrors. The timing of this new measurement system's rollout, right before the finals, raised even more eyebrows. Seasoned media analysts said they'd never seen anything so blatant, likening it to adding zeros to a scoreboard when you're losing. The league hadn't fabricated numbers outright. They'd simply changed what watching meant until it painted the picture they wanted. The irony was painful. The Indiana Fever, despite having Caitlin Clark and her fiery teammate Sophie Cunningham, two of the few players capable of generating real excitement, weren't even in the finals. The WNBA tried to sell fans on Liberty vs. Lynx as must-see TV, but without Clark's magnetic draw, no one was buying it. Cunningham's rise in Indiana, her fierce energy, and her connection with fans had made her a standout this season. But the league ignored that authenticity, opting instead to manipulate perception. When the truth began to circulate, the backlash was swift and brutal. Social media lit up with accusations of manufactured success. Reddit threads compared the WNBA's tactics to Hollywood inflating box office numbers for flops. The term ghost watchers began trending, mocking the millions of imaginary viewers who supposedly tuned in but left no trace online. Even die-hard WNBA fans struggled to defend it. How do you justify record-breaking ratings when finals tickets sold for $6? Arenas couldn't fill half their seats, and sports radio completely ignored the games. The math didn't add up, and everyone knew it. Then came the most telling detail. ESPN's own shows barely mentioned their historic achievement. No celebratory panels, no viral soundbites, no proud recaps. When your own network won't hype your supposed success, it's because everyone behind the scenes knows it's a sham. NASCAR events, Tuesday night baseball games, even cornhole tournaments were generating more organic engagement. The WNBA's cultural impact from these finals was zero. You can't fake relevance, and the league just learned that lesson the hard way. But the deeper reason behind this desperation is clear. After riding Caitlin Clark's wave of popularity through 2024 and early 2025, the league was left floundering when she got injured. Attendance plummeted, merchandise sales sank, and interest waned overnight. They needed a win, or at least the illusion of one. ESPN, deeply invested financially in the WNBA's growth, had every reason to help conjure that illusion. The conflict of interest couldn't have been more obvious. And what's worse, they underestimated fans. In an era where every metric can be fact-checked in minutes, they thought they could fake momentum and get away with it. But when record viewership claims meet zero online traction, the lie collapses under its own weight. The WNBA didn't just bend the truth, they snapped it in half. The consequences go far beyond public embarrassment. Advertisers base millions in spending on these metrics. When they realize they were sold phantom audiences, people who weren't actually watching, trust evaporates. Future media deals, sponsorship negotiations, and brand partnerships all become poisoned. For a league that's already struggled to stay financially viable, this could be catastrophic. What should have been a milestone in women's sports has turned into a masterclass in corporate deceit. Perhaps the most heartbreaking part of this saga is how it undermines real progress. The WNBA has grown in recent years, largely thanks to authentic stars like Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham, who draw in fans through skill, charisma, and connection. But now, those genuine achievements are overshadowed by statistical trickery. The league has handed ammunition to every critic who claims women's sports can't succeed without fabrication. The mechanics of this scam are astonishingly cynical. By counting passive exposure, from bars, gyms, and airports, the WNBA turned America's background noise into fake fans. A crowded sports bar airing multiple channels could suddenly contribute dozens of viewers to the finals total, even if nobody actually looked up. Multiplied across thousands of locations, that created millions of imaginary eyes. It wasn't innovation, it was inflation. And now, the brutal truth is undeniable. The WNBA finals without Caitlin Clark simply don't move the needle. The league knows it, ESPN knows it, and now the fans know it too. Instead of confronting that reality and focusing on the genuine stars who can carry the sport, they chose deception. They tried to manufacture a narrative instead of earning one. And in doing so, they've humiliated themselves on a global stage. Every sports league dreams of legitimacy, of cultural resonance. But legitimacy can't be faked, it must be earned. The WNBA's attempt to cheat its way into the mainstream has backfired spectacularly. The damage to its reputation may take years to repair, if it ever can be. For fans who wanted to believe in the league's growth, this feels like betrayal. If you think this rating scandal is as outrageous as it sounds, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more updates as this story unfolds. Drop a comment below and tell us what you think. Can the WNBA recover from this mess, or has it finally exposed the truth behind its inflated image? Let's hear your take, because this conversation is just getting started.